school, I was an athletic hero. I lettered in multiple sports. Okay, I know this is the tall tale contest, but I can tell by your eyes you're thinking that that was the tall tale. No, seriously, I was pretty good in sports. I was in track, in cross country, and in 1986, I was the fastest runner in the state of California. Now, I'm not denying that I was a great runner, but the embarrassing part about my childhood is how I became a great runner. See, when I was a kid, I had to walk home from school every day, and growing up in Los Angeles, I mean, that's a feat. There was this one part of the area where I had to walk home. It was right between the two freeways, and there was this gang of boys that felt like it was their rite of passage to beat up on every kid that came through that area. Well, if you know me, I don't like to fight, and I'll do anything that I can to avoid a fight. So I learned how to run. From 7th grade to 12th grade, every day after school, I ran fast. So fast that I never got caught by those kids. Now the problem is this put a big burden on my shoulders. Because every time I won one of those races at the track meet, I knew why I won. It wasn't because I inherited great genes. It wasn't because I worked hard. It was because I was afraid. I was a coward, and because of my cowardice, I was winning races. I confided in my father, and he told me not to be ashamed of that. In fact, that was the legacy of my family. It started back in 1920. Now, history remembers the 20s as the Roaring 20s. Prohibition happened. Women earned the right to vote. But for my family, it was the years of Pancho Villa. Pancho Villa, he was a Mexican revolutionary. And while his cause was just, the way he went about it, terrible. There were raids on cities across the border towns where all women, children, and even the elderly were slaughtered. It was terrible. And in 1920, the American government decided they were going to do something about it. So in Los Angeles, they recruited a militia to fight Pancho Villa. All the young Mexican men were gathered up, and my grandfather was one of them. They were put on a train, 500 of them, to go intercept Pancho Villa south of San Diego. Now everybody on this train was just scared. And as this train was rounding the bends of the Temecula Canyons, a rumor surfaced. Pancho Villa would attack the train just after the border. Everybody was horrified, but my grandfather more so, because my grandfather was not a strong man. He was so afraid of that rumor that even though the train was traveling 50 miles an hour, he jumped off that train. Now you might be wondering, what kind of legacy is this for me to be telling where my grandfather was a coward? I mean, my grandfather had the exact same problem I did. But the story's not over. Because as it was told by my great aunts and my great uncles, once my grandfather jumped off that train, he ran 100 miles back to his home in Los Angeles. He ran as if his life depended upon it. He ran because his life depended upon it. And when my grandfather reached his house, and he was weak and exhausted, news came in over the wire. That train was intercepted by Pancho Villa. There was not one survivor. Ladies and gentlemen, were it not for the fear of my grandfather that led him to jump off a train and run 100 miles, I wouldn't be here today. Were it not for the legacy of the cowardness of the Carrillos, I wouldn't have been able to raise 2 beautiful daughters. And I'll tell you what, my daughters have never been in a fight. And they're ranked #1 and #2 in the state of California running team. Fellow Toastmasters, I am proud of the Carrillo cowardness and the legacy it's brought me. And I know that it will allow me to bring generations to come. Madam Toastmasters.